phone back again. Okay, it's connected now. That's tie line 1 or tie line 2?
Hey mate, Dan Cook here in Christchurch.
Yeah.
Coming up.
How's that? Is that alright?
Thanks, Colin.
I can't reach it. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Can't hear anything? Yeah. Keep that microphone switched on. Input, yep, it's right up. Yeah, hold on. I'll try it again. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
The other stuff, yes.
You want me to go back to line 2? Okay, can you hear me now? I can talk. Oh, another doctor. I can talk. Oh, that's not working out. That's bizarre, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I can put the return up so you can
Yeah.
Any difference?
No, it's straight.
Oh, hold on. Is it, no, no, just... Are you hearing me now?
I think there's only one slide. Stuff.
Okay. Yep, no, I've just tried it again.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So you want to run with that? Okay. Yeah. Oh, as soon as I put it down, is that... It might be just because the cord is... It must be because the cord is so long when I put it down. How's that? No, I've only got the one. Okay, let's see if I can hang it off the side. Is that better?
Hello, hello. All good. Dan, can you hear us okay there? Sound all right?
Right.
Yep.
Do you want
We'll
me
keep
to
talking.
unplug
We're at the police station.
light
Yep.
and just leave the phone on the desk? Will it still work? Okay. Talking. Can you hear me now? Yeah, well this is just from the phone and I can just sit it on the podium. Okay, hold on. No, that's okay. Yeah, luckily we had loads of time to set up. Can you, how's that? Can you hear me okay? Okay, yep, no, that's fine. So I'll leave that there, leave it on, leave it just all connected, ready to go. Okay, awesome. And you'll record it up there? Yeah. And so I want to record it as well because I can't record. Awesome, thank you. Okay, bye. Make sure we keep a clear path through here.
Otherwise I'm short. Well, I can use 10 minutes.
Christchurch o Tutahi, Kaitahuboi, Marlon Williams.
Thank you for coming, everybody. We have Police Commissioner Mike Bush.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for your patience. We did have an interpreter here, didn't we?
Yes.
Oh, good man. Thank you. Oh, look, thanks very much for your patience. As you heard, I'm Commissioner Mike Bush. I'm accompanied, as you can see, by a cadre of people which I will introduce shortly. My purpose for being here in Canterbury is to ensure that everyone involved in the response and investigation of this tragic incident gets every support and every resource possible that they need. Our priorities in this matter, obviously, are public safety, not just here in Canterbury, but nationally. And we've deployed staff right across the country to that. Our other top priority includes making sure that these victims, these poor people, so horribly affected, get every piece of support that they need to get them through this absolutely tragic time. The investigation and the intelligence phase, again, is a very, very important priority to understand exactly what unfolded, how it unfolded, and to answer the many questions that the public and yourselves will have. Another one of our joint priorities is to ensure that all of the people, all of our staff, all of the responders involved in this get every piece of support possible. I want to acknowledge all of the leaders in the room from all of the agencies. I want to acknowledge my colleague, the District Commander, John Price, who was in charge of the forward command for this operation and has led this local response. I also have local leaders from the emergency services, from St John's Ambulance, from Fire and Emergency Services, Civil Defence, Defence, Victim Support, Council, all of those other agencies that are working so closely together. And I will ask them to make a brief statement each to you if they so desire. In terms of how we continue to focus on this matter, you would have heard this morning that one offender, 28-year-old male, has been charged at this stage with one count of murder. He has been remanded to the High Court for the 5th of April. And what charges he faces then will be determined by this investigation. You have heard today how many victims are involved, and again, we are giving every support possible to them. I also want to thank all the religious leaders, the imams who have travelled here to give their support to the people that have been so seriously affected by this incident. Now I want to turn and offer all of my colleagues here the opportunity to say something, and at the conclusion of that, I or others will answer any of the questions that you may have, if I can. Thank you. John?
Thank you, sir. I just want to reiterate the Commissioner's comments that this approach was a multi-agency approach. The first responders that responded to this tragedy did an outstanding job. I want to reassure the community that we have heroes every single day who come to work to keep them safe. I am committed to the reassurance of the Canterbury community to bring peace to our streets. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Well, good afternoon. Peter Bradley, Chief Executive of St John Ambulance. I couldn't be prouder of the work that my call takers, dispatchers and ambulance crews did yesterday in what was a horrific situation. Their ability to triage, treat and transport so many patients so quickly and effectively save lives, and I just want to put on record my pride and thanks to the fantastic job working alongside the police that the ambulance service did yesterday. Thank you.
I'm Dion Swiggs, the City Councillor here on behalf of the Mayor of Christchurch, Leanne Dalzell. I just really want to reiterate that from the City's point of view, we are working with all the agencies. We are working very well with all the agencies. The communication line is very clear. The focus of the City at the moment is especially around the victim support, working with those families who are grieving from the events that have happened, this tragic event that's happened in our city. So really the message at the moment is that we are working with those families and those victims to make sure that they have the right support. There is a place where people can go and lay flowers if they wish, which is outside on Rolleston Ave, outside the Botanic Gardens. Anybody who wishes to go there can go and lay a flower and pay some memories for those people that we've lost. But that's basically the message that we have from the City at this time.
Paul Henderson, Fire Region Manager, Fire Emergency New Zealand. Just reiterate the thoughts that have been given. Our role has been primarily to assist police, and of course we've been involved with some of the calls that have been taken. The working together of the agencies has been exceptionally good, particularly from this particular building where we all work together, and I just reiterate the comments to all of the staff who've been involved. It's been quite magnificent. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is James Russell, liaison officer from New Zealand Army to Police Headquarters. Defence role here is to support the New Zealand Police in whatever capacity we can offer. Currently that's a large number of logistical roles that we can do, but our main role is to support the New Zealand Police in whatever they require from us. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Neville Riley, Canterbury Civil Defence Emergency Management. We have provided volunteers out of the community who have worked with St John, particularly in mass casualty support role at the hospital in particular. We've also set up a centre at Hagley along with police to support the families of the victims. And I might say that the facility that we're using has been able to bring all the agencies together to help work really effectively.
Good afternoon. My name is Deborah Stokes and I'm from Victim Support New Zealand. Since the news of this incident first started filtering through, we as an organisation have been working hard in the background to put robust support plans in place for the victims of this awful event, and we have had offers of time, money, 24/7 support from our support workers from all over the country and from our volunteers from all over the country. So starting tomorrow will probably be when we will start implementing those plans, and that support process will last as long as it needs to. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I turn to your questions, I want to conclude by again acknowledging the absolute bravery not just of police staff, and you would have seen the online videos, but also members of the public who put themselves in harm's way. Our staff come to work every day to keep people safe, and that does mean putting themselves between danger, and they did. And the information I have from John and the investigation team is their intervention may very likely have saved further lives. So I want to acknowledge them at this point, and they will be acknowledged further. Thank you.
The person in custody very much had the capacity to engage police in a firefight. Can you give any description of that moment when the person was arrested, whether there was any suggestion that might happen, or was the person very willing to be arrested?
That person was not willing to be arrested. Again, I think you've probably seen some of that live video. There was live audio coming back to my command centre in Wellington of that apprehension. And I can tell you, as I was listening to that, the person was non-compliant. We also believe that not only were there IEDs in that vehicle, so it was a very dangerous manoeuvre, there were also firearms in that vehicle. So our staff, who were well equipped, did engage with that person and again put themselves in real danger to keep the community safe from further harm.
Just a follow up on that.
Coming to
There are clearly highly armed police with bushmasters and on the streets of Auckland as well. Can you reassure the public of New Zealand that there is no imminent threat?
I have no intelligence about current imminent threats, but I would never assume anything in this situation. That's why it's so important that we resource the intelligence and investigations phase of this to make sure that we understand everything and understand it urgently.
Do you have leads that you're progressing?
We have a number of leads, but to go to your very point, which is an important one, to assure the public we're not searching for anyone that we think is an immediate threat, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. So we will be highly vigilant, highly present, highly visible to ensure that if there is anyone out there wanting to commit harm, that we can intervene. And I reach out to the public again to say, if you see something, say something. Get in touch with us. Thank you.
Has anyone else been charged in relation to yesterday's incident?
Look, we're, in terms of people who have been charged, we have, as you know, we apprehended 4 people on the day. One was released quite early, a member of the public who just wanted to get their kids home but decided to take a firearm. There was another couple arrested at a cordon, and we're currently working through whether or not that person or those persons had any involvement in this incident. So when we know, we'll be able to give you, but I don't want to say anything until we are sure.
Would you be able to clarify the vetting process that police went through so that this man could get a New Zealand firearm licence? Was his house visited? Was he interviewed? Did he have references?
Yeah, we're absolutely working through the details, so I won't give you a guaranteed accurate answer to that because we're still working through the detail. But the process is we will check for criminal history, we will check with referees, and we most likely would do a home visit.
There's been some criticism about how quickly police responded to the incident. Would you be able to give a detailed account of when police arrived?
Yes, from the commencement, and John will be able to help me out on this, they responded immediately. So to the initial scene, John, how many minutes? I think this incident was called at 13:42.
36 minutes from the time we received the call to we had the offender in custody.
So you're satisfied with the response time?
That is an incredibly fast response time. You had a mobile offender across a large metropolitan city. I am very happy with the response of our staff.
But we were also on scene at the mosques way earlier than that. That was the time from the initial incident until we had the offender in custody.
Can you tell us where the offender was held overnight before being brought to court this morning?
He was held very close to here, I understand, John?
That is correct, sir. He was held in the custody here, police custody, and we transported him to the courts across there for his hearing.
Commissioner, the Prime Minister's asked for a change in gun laws in the country. Do you agree with it?
I was very happy to hear the Prime Minister's comments this morning that there will be a change in the gun law, but I can't see any more than that.
Commissioner, which grade of licence did this man have for a gun?
He had a Category A licence.
Now that, so he wasn't allowed to be carrying semi-automatic, was he, under that licence?
Strictly no, but that's all part of the investigation, and we'll be able to report more fully on that at the conclusion of the investigation. But you are right.
Do we know how he got hold of his semi-automatic licence?
There is a process, so in terms of how those firearms are purchased, but they may be altered.
But you can't purchase those...
Not as they are.
Can you expand on that? Not as they are.
So a Category A firearm holder can purchase the firearms without the magazines or the things that will enable them to be in the state that they were.
Does that need to change?
Look, these are things that will be considered very shortly, and I can only go back to the Prime Minister's statement this morning that the law will change.
Do you have a better idea at this stage of the times of the
So how many minutes in between?
How many minutes in between is and what time the RNZ started and then what time?
Yes, it was less than, it was 7 minutes, John, between...
I believe from the time we left the Dean's Moss to the Linwood Moss was 7 minutes.
And so you believe, you suspect it was the same person involved in both Dean's
It would be improper for us to go into the detail now that a person has been charged, but I will say, because I want to be as informative as possible, that we know nothing that would contradict what you've just suggested.
And what cooperation have you had with Australian authorities in trying to understand who this man is and why, particularly being able to obtain firearms?
We've always had a very close relationship with Australian law enforcement and also Australia intelligence agencies. When this occurred, we stood up what we call a joint intelligence group involving all of our agencies. The Australians have stood up one of their intelligence commands to work closely with us. We are working through a host of issues with them. I've been in communication with both the Australian Federal Police Commissioner and the New South Wales Police Commissioner last night and this morning. Our people are working very closely, as is the intelligence agencies.
Was he on the radar anywhere in terms of Australia or New Zealand?
At this stage, and I have to be very careful about that, this person was not known to any of us, hadn't been reported to any of us, has no previous convictions that we can understand, was not a person of interest to either jurisdiction.
Commissioner, would you be able to provide any further detail as to police activity on Summerfield Ave in Dunedin?
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of the person that has been arrested, he has a residence in Dunedin, and we're currently searching that pursuant to the search and surveillance legislation. We had to make it safe first.
Do you have any idea at this stage of some of the age range of the victims?
Yes, we do, but for the purposes of accuracy, I'm just getting that data confirmed for me, and we'd like to get it out to you sometime today.
Are there some children? We heard reports that some are children. Are you able to confirm that?
Yes, there is at least one child, possibly two.
Yes, please. Can you elaborate on investigations in the mosques? Have you found any other devices, apart from, because obviously used a firearm, but we've heard there may have been grenades found during the searching. Is that something you can comment on?
We haven't found any grenades. We had to ensure that at one of the locations there were no IEDs that would endanger anyone. That was done. But unless someone wants to contradict me, there were no grenades found.
No, there were no grenades. There was a suspicious parcel at one of the mosques. We cleared that. Didn't end up to be an IED. The vehicle that the offender was in, there was a device in there that caused us concerns, and we used the New Zealand Defence Forces to render that safe.
Commissioner, there was another charge on somebody today, intent to excite hostility or ill will against any group. I'm not going to read the whole thing, you're aware of what I'm talking about. Is that in relation to communications online before or after the event, in relation to postings from your accused?
Look, we're just working through what we can release in terms of those matters, and we will be able to provide you with more detail, but I can't at this immediate point.
Could you suggest, even in broad enough terms, that it was commentary on what had happened?
Let's say this is a very wide-reaching investigation. We are speaking to a considerable number of people. Social media and other electronic forms form part of our investigation. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you very much for your attention.
Fair to say many of those posters online who engage with you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you all.